A brief summary of this evening's agenda, particularly for the benefit of those who may be watching at home. So tonight is a meeting of the Board of Supervisors in a business session. The board has a number of action items under old business to include action to award a construction contract for the Heroes Grove Phase 3 construction project. Next, the board will take action to approve a request for additional funding for the said Heroes Grove Phase 3 construction project. Heading into new business, the board will take action to approve a professional services agreement with Municipal Resources Incorporated in response to a fire and emergency services consultant RFP. After that, the board will take action to appoint PFM financial advisors for the township's independent advisors relative to the pension various pension funds that the township has. Following this, the board will take action to approve change order number 1 for the 2022 and 2021 sewer lining project. Finally, the board will take action on improvement guarantees, the payment of township and authority bills. Finally, any lasting announcements and a motion to adjourn. With all that said, members of the board are seated and prepared to conduct business. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gottschall. We'll call this meeting of the Lower Paxton Township Board of Supervisors to order. I'd like to ask everyone to please rise, and Supervisor Judd will lead us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That takes us to the approval of minutes, of which there are none, so we'll go past that to public comment. I would like to announce the board did meet in executive session prior to this meeting and will be doing so following. Public comment is time set aside for anybody to appear before the board on an item not on the agenda tonight. If you are here to speak to an agenda item, we'll have public comment at that time. So would anybody like to speak on an item not on the agenda this evening? Okay, seeing none. Chairman and board member comments. Board members, any comments?
I just have two. I wanted to thank the Linglestown Legion for hosting the Memorial Day Parade last week. The board was a part of it, and it was a great day, except it was a little hot. But other than that, thank you to the Legion for allowing us to participate. And also Friday night at Heroes Grove, we will have our first concert of the summer, and that'll be from 7 to 8:30. And it'll be Salt Out City, so not too sure, but probably a dance band. So if you're not doing anything Friday night, bring your lawn chair, and it's a free concert.
Okay. Any other board members have comments? Okay. Manager's report.
Members of the board, I have no specific report this evening.
Thank you. Wonderful report. That takes us to old business. First of all, we need to take action to award a construction contract to ECIC Construction, or ECI Construction, LLC, for Heroes Grove Phase 3. And Christine Hunter is here. Christine, if you would come to the podium, please. I know you did fill the board in on this on our workshop last month, but if you want to just give us a brief overview for those who may not be familiar.
Thank you. So we received bids for Phase 3 of Heroes Grove. That is a restroom concession building. The bids were received on May 7th, and ECI Construction was the low bidder. Their bid for the base bid and the last flagpole is $452,000. As we discussed at the last meeting that I attended, we do have significant grant funding in place. However, there is some need for additional funds. So we are requesting the township to support the project in up to $100,000. That includes this construction contract, all the expenses to date of bid advertisement, permit applications, this construction contract, some additional fees for H. Edward Black and Associates for the construction phase, and that also includes a construction contingency allowance of about $22,000 because there is usually something that comes up during construction.
Yes. Board members, any questions for Christine? Any public questions or comments? Okay, thank you, Christine. With that, we have two different items to consider. The first is to take action to award the construction contract. Would there be a motion?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, for the record, on May 20th, I did resign from the Heroes Grove Committee. The paperwork has been filed with the township, so I have resigned from Heroes Grove.
And also, just to clarify, Heroes Grove, the township has been the host municipality and the recipient of the grant money. It's worth noting that between all three phases, we are getting a facility that costs $1.7 million, and the township's only requested contribution toward that is the up to $100,000 we are considering tonight. But it is a township-owned facility, although it is a facility for all of Dauphin County. With that, is there then a motion to award construction contract to Phase 3, which is the final phase of the
Yes.
project?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we take action to award a construction contract to ECI Construction LLC for Heroes Grove Phase 3.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. With that, we also need to take action to approve a request for additional funding for Heroes Grove Phase 3. This would be the request for up to $100,000 in additional funding to cover any final construction costs, potential overages, and also would include $10,000 that would go toward administrative fees for H. Edward Black and Associates. Would there be a motion for that, please?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the allocation of $100,000 to the Heroes Grove Phase 3 construction project, with $10,000 to be allocated to H. Edward Black and Associates.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Now, again, to note, it is a township-owned facility, and this is an internal action to designate up to $100,000 in township funds to a township facility. That having been said, however, two members of this board also continue to serve on the board of Heroes Fund, Inc., and will therefore be, although it's not really necessary, we'll be recusing ourselves from that vote just to make sure that there are no questions. With that, I would like to ask for a roll call vote on the motion.
Mrs. Lindsay?
Yes.
Mr. Zumis?
I recuse.
Mr. Judd?
Yes.
Mr. Navarro?
Yes.
Mr. Henry?
I recuse. So the motion passes on a 3-0 to 2 recusal vote.
Thank you
There you go,
very
Christine.
much.
Thank you. Thank you, Vince. And thank you, Vince, and to the whole committee for, 19 years of work. Mr. Minsker, who served on that committee, I think the whole 19 years as well. So it's been quite a long haul. And if all goes well, construction finished sometime around Christmas. Very good. Excellent. Well, thank you all for a lot of dedication to the cause. We now need to move to new business, and we need to take action to approve a professional services agreement with Municipal Resources, Inc. in response to the Fire and Emergency Services Consultant, RFP. Director Kashiba, if you would like to come up and give us an overview as to what this action involves.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, manager, assistant manager, and the public. So, yes, we've been examining the need for this for quite some time. This has been discussed in public safety, I would say, for the better part of a year and a half or so. And so we put together an RFP. We received 9 proposals back as a result of that RFP. They ranged from extremely low up to and exceeding the amount that we're requesting here for be rewarded to Municipal Resources Incorporated. So the cost is $52,495. We did budget $49,500, so that is $2,995 over budget. And I will say this as it relates to the funding for the project. Upon examining all the reference material and the studies that they put forth in their reference material. I think it's a fair amount for what we anticipate this will do for Lower Paxton Township. Looking at the other individuals, companies that put forth the RFPs, like I said, they ranged very low to extremely high compared to even this price. And I don't believe that they would give us the information that we need in its totality that the folks here at Municipal Resources Incorporated out of Plymouth, New Hampshire would be giving us. In researching the company itself, I found that they do have an A+ rating with the BBB. And again, I did review their documents, specifically, there's probably about 15 of them I looked at, but specifically the Chester County plan that they were contracted to do, as well as the, I think it was Upper Marion's plan, which are similar municipalities throughout that county and even in Upper Marion. As far as their references, they've done over 250 similar studies across the eastern half of the United States. Again, most recently, Chester County, a very inclusive fire and EMS study, Keystone Valley Fire District here in PA, and there's a long list of them, 21 in Pennsylvania alone. So what is it that we will get out of this study? To put it in the most simplistic terms, I would like to say they are going to build the foundation for what we expect the fire and EMS services to look like in the future of Lower Paxton Township. As you know, I don't have to tell anyone, especially the supervisors, with our residents well over 53,000 now, we need to plan for the future, and I believe this is the way to go about it. It's a very in-depth study, which would include input from key stakeholders in the community, the supervisors, the volunteer fire service or fire companies here, as well as EMS, and a whole host of other in-depth studies that they will do. They review organizational structure and appropriateness and effectiveness. They review operational practices. Strategic planning is a key for us. They're going to give us a piece on strategic planning. They're going to take a look at the fire and EMS facilities that are now being utilized in the township by the three individual corporations, the three volunteer fire companies. They're going to also look at fire and rescue staffing as an immediate, what we need to do in the future, and in the long term to sustain proper fire protection for Lower Paxton Township. They're also going to evaluate community concerns. They're going to definitely be meeting with our volunteer fire companies. This will be an open process that they'll be a part of. They anticipate on reviewing the fire services capital replacement plan and examination of the potential for additional regional shared services, which was a piece that out of all the other RFPs, this was the only RFP that mentioned regional services. And I only say that not that we're looking to regionalize our services here in Lower Paxton, but it's going to draw that information from those that surround us to help us gain a better understanding of what they can provide to Lower Paxton Township and what we may be able to provide to them as well. And obviously, we want the best for our township, and I think this plan will go about that and hopefully give us the that foundation that we're looking for. And with some of the other things that we have moving forward, I believe that we're going to be able to build a structure that's going to withstand the test of time.
And the total was 52,495.
52,495, yes, sir.
Board members, any additional questions for the director? Do you have any public questions or comments for the director or on the proposal? And again, this is one of 3 strategic planning endeavors the board is undertaking. Given the size of our municipality and the complexity of what we face going forward, not only with emergency services, but with our parks and with our financial structure, it was our consensus that we should move forward with a lot of planning here this year so that we know where we're going in the future. So thank you, Director, for spearheading that.
Adam, I just had a question. How long do you think the study will take?
It's proposed to be completed within 6 months of the date of signing. So
And if you said that, I'm sorry. I must have missed
No,
it.
I did not, I'm
Okay.
sorry. It should be completed thus far
Okay.
by the end of this year then.
I think it's
And then-
also worth noting that the funding for this comes from the fire tax, correct?
That's correct, sir.
So folks know what they're getting. Well, believe me, what we get for that minimal fire tax and the amount of fire protection we get, there's really no comparison. But this is one of the things that tax is paying for.
You know, the other thing I'll mention too, I know that some of the members of the fire company are here, and we've since received a federal grant for recruitment and retention. This will also examine additional methods and funding for recruitment and retention of the volunteer service. With the strength, we do not want to lose our volunteer service in the township. We want to support it in the best way we can, obviously, and I'm speaking as the director, not for any of you. And we want the residents to have the best protection in conjunction with the volunteers.
Was that the SAFER grant that you're talking about?
Yes, ma'am. And that's just, that's soon to end.
Okay, because was that last year or 2 years ago we got
Ooh,
that?
I think that's 3.5
Three and
years
a half?
ago now.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
It's-
Wow,
Okay, I
that
didn't
long.
realize it was that long.
Gee.
Okay, because COG just got theirs, that's why I wasn't too sure how long it's been since we got ours, so.
Okay.
Good.
We're incredibly lucky. We're fortunate that we got fire companies, volunteers that do this for a township our size. And we got to look at this and do it in a strategic way. But it's like you said, it's to support what they're doing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If there are no further questions, no public comment, is there a motion?
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we approve the professional services agreement with Municipal Resources, Inc. in response to the Fire and Emergency Services Consultant RFP in the amount of $52,495.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Director, thank you. Where'd he go? No. Thank you, Director. We now have to go to new business 9B. We need to take action to appoint PFM Financial Advisors, LLC, as the township's independent advisor relative to debt issuance and management services. And PFM Swap Advisors, LLC, is the township's qualified independent representative for an outstanding interest rate swap agreement. Sam, would you like to maybe put that a little bit into English for us?
I'd be glad to, Mr. Chairman. So
We know what it means, but it can be confusing, I think, too.
fair enough. We had previously had independent advisory services for both our debt portfolio and for the interest rate swap by Susquehanna Financial Group. Here early in 2022, they merged with RBC, who actually holds our swap, so therein lies a conflict of interest that the board had to address. As a means to best address managing our interest rate swap as it moves towards its final termination, as well as our overall bond portfolio in a very forward and long-term looking view, we found it best to ensure that those services remain together with a firm. PFM, even though we have financial advisors and swap advisory as two separate contracts here, they are two divisions within the same company. They are one of the only ones in the state that have a very active and manageable swap desk, which is something that we found very unique as far as assessing the environment for who to place in the services. And ultimately, I've worked with PFM in my years prior to being here at Lower Paxton, excellent firm, great services, and the prices were very much in consideration with where we've been in our last several issuances. So we're very pleased that we can offer them as a recommended party for those services.
Very good. And the interest rate environment where we can hopefully execute this swap is appearing more and more favorable.
Very much so.
And perhaps, given the Fed's expected action over the next month or two, we're going to be, and this will position us to take immediate action as soon as it becomes favorable to us?
That is correct.
Good. Do we have any questions for Mr. Miller? Any public question or comment? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve PFM?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve action to appoint PFM Financial Advisors, LLC, as the township's independent advisor relative to debt issuance and management services, and PFM Swap Advisors, LLC, as the township's qualified independent representative for an outstanding interest rate swap agreement.
So moved. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye? Aye. Thank you. 9C, we need to take action on change order number 1 for the 2020-2021 sewer lining project. Mr. Godshall.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Change order number 1 simply modifies the contract times for this particular project contract, extending that contract in the amount of 257 calendar days, due primarily to COVID-related delays as well as weather delays. So this change order, again, does not impact at all the contract price, but rather simply the contract term.
Okay.
So engineer and township staff have reviewed this change order and recommend its approval this evening. Thank you.
Well, the COVID impact seems to never quite end here. Are there any questions? Hearing none, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the change order number 1 for the 2020-2021 sewer lining project to extend it to 257 calendar days.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye?
I knew
What?
what you meant.
It's okay, I'm all right.
You seconded your own motion?
All right, I'm good.
To make sure it went through.
Okay, I got a little disoriented there with that.
Okay, we'll just spice it up a
So,
little
so
bit
you
here.
now made the motion and
I didn't second
Mr.
it.
Navarro did the second. Is that where we are?
Yes.
Okay,
He thirds it.
she thirds it. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay. It's been a long day.
You think in your head, it's okay.
Okay. Subdivision and land development, we have some improvement guarantees, numerous of which nothing appears to be out of the ordinary. Are there any questions?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, can you remove Shadebrook and do it separately with a roll call vote?
Okay, yes.
Thank you.
Can we first have a motion on the Shadebrook guarantee?
I'll make a motion to approve the improvement guarantee for Shadebrook Phase 1.
Phase 1. Is there a second? Second. Not Mrs. Lindsay. Okay. Roll call vote on that, please.
Mrs. Lindsay,
Abstaining for personal reasons.
Mr. Zumas,
Aye.
Mr. Judd, Mr. Navarro,
Aye.
Mr. Henry.
Aye. Now may we have a motion on the remaining improvement guarantees?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the improvement guarantees. Amber Fields, 6804 Blue Ridge Village, 6320 Maiden Creek Drive, Stray Winds Farms, and Estates of Autumn Oaks.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye? Aye. This brings us to payment of bills for Lower Paxton Township and the Lower Paxton Township Authority. Mr. Treasurer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that we approve payment of the bills for Lower Paxton Township and Lower Paxton Township Authority.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any additional announcements? Hearing none, the next meeting of the Board of Supervisors will be a workshop meeting 1 week from tonight. Oh, well, we have one more announcement.
My apologies, I did not see them on the agenda, and it's probably a mishap of mine, and I apologize. I have 2 fire police officers to be sworn in for the Lingelstown Fire Company, and I have their oath of office. If it's okay with you, Mr. Chairman, I'll read that as they present themselves to the board.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Nice.
And names too, please.
If you guys want to come up and introduce yourself, and then I'll go ahead and give you the oath of office.
Michelle DeStefano.
Jim DeStefano.
Nice.
You guys would go stand in front of the board. And if the two of you would raise your right hand and repeat after me, and when I say name, obviously you're going to say your name. I, name, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth, and that I will discharge my duties of official office for the Lingelstown Fire Company Fire Police and Lower Paxton Township, Dauphin County. Thank you.
Pennsylvania.
All right, thank you.
Congratulations.
I see you had to twist her leg to get her to do that.
I don't know if they all want
You tried to run away.
or do they want
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate your willingness to serve, and thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Sorry we almost missed you. That was, all right. Are there any other announcements or any other business for the board? Okay, hearing none now. Our next meeting will be a workshop meeting 1 week from tonight, Tuesday, June 14th at 7 p.m. in this room. Is there a motion to adjourn? Second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.